My name is Zachary Wynne, and I had a wreck back in May. It's May 28th, I believe. It was kind of traumatizing, you know. I had just got off work, and I was on the way to buy an old school RCA record player that I really wanted, you know, 50 bucks. Yeah. I was on the way there. I was in Spring Hope, about a mile from the house, the destination that I had to be at, and going into a curve, I hit a puddle, lost control, hit a ditch pipe, flipped 3 times, hood the trunk, you know. So it was unexpected, very traumatizing. When the car landed, I was honestly surprised that I was still alive. You know, I didn't expect it at all. Like, it landed and I said, wow, I'm still alive. I don't know how, but okay. But I always kept like a Bible, you know, between my speakers in my car. It was always in the back seat. And I had my phone right here in the passenger seat. You know, I was singing, just riding along. Like I said, you know, when I flipped, when I got done, my Bible was laying next to me, and my phone was nowhere to be found in the back seat somewhere. I couldn't find it. You know, when I got out the car, I took my Bible and I sat it on the hood of my car because I thought the car was gonna catch on fire. You know, I was trying to like find my phone real quick, and I couldn't find my phone, so I grabbed my Bible, set it on the ground. I said, you know, if the car burns up, I don't want nothing to get messed up. And I found somebody. We called my dad and said, hey, look, man, yeah, I just wrecked. But they came and got me. The ambulance showed up. I had just 2 cuts on my head. You know, everything was okay. I was just bleeding a little bit. Later that night was probably the most crucial for me because my grandpa died back in February, and you know, he was a big part of my life, especially with my music. And you know, he was always there. I remember walking into the stores and seeing him smile, and he was just always, he called me Shorty even though I was taller than him. it was weird, but that's just stuck. But I haven't seen him, you know, since he died. I haven't dreamed about him, nothing like that. And later that night, I had a dream that this man who I couldn't even see him. I don't know who he was. I could hear him, but I couldn't see him. He said, I have your grandpa. I said, what are you talking about? Well, I've got your grandpa. I said, I don't understand, you know. We were in a store, and my grandpa, you know, he owned a store, but it wasn't his store. I don't know whose store it was. And my grandpa came out from this room, and it was the grandpa that I remembered when I was a kid, you know, like when he was able to walk perfectly fine and talk to me, and you know, when I was able to dance with him and stuff like that. And he showed up, and I was bawling in tears, man. I couldn't believe it was him. Like, when I first saw him, I really didn't know it was him. And he came up to me, hugged my neck. I hugged him back. You know, he told me he loved me, and I told him I loved him. And I just couldn't stop crying. And I woke up, and I was crying. I just kept crying. I didn't know what to do, you know. And you know, I think that was God. When the Bible, when it was laying next to me, I think it was him telling me like, hey, he's there. And then my grandpa, that was another sign of, you know, they were with me. Both of them were, you know. I truly believe that. And recently, since all this is going on, I've came closer, you know, had a better relationship with God. And me and some buddies and, you know, some girls and stuff, we came up with a group of Bible study. So, you know, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, every Wednesday and every Sunday, we do Bible study. And we talk about what's on our minds and, you know, what's going on in our lives, like my music and, you know, just little things. And we pray, you know, we give each other like homework to do. Like, I think I'm supposed to be reading the book of Job. And
it's a good one.
Yeah, right. It's supposed to be a short passage. I haven't started yet, but I'm going to. So we're gonna meet Sunday and talk about it.
You'll end up reading the whole thing.
Right.
If you start in chapter 1, you'll go all the way to 40 or 41 or however they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've heard it's pretty good. Somebody else right there like, you really need to read it now. I was like, I can't. I got all this stuff going on. But I make sure, you know, before I start recording or singing, I'm praying. You know, I got my cross with me all the time, and I've got my Bible. In fact, my Bible's in the car now that we're driving. And all this stuff usually stays close to me. You know, I'm always praying for a better voice. I'm always praying for a better health, and you know, always praying that my family stays safe. Yeah, I know when it's my time, and it wasn't my time that night when I wrecked. Yeah. He had, you know, plans for me, and this music has been a big part of my life. And hopefully, I could write a song about everything going on. You know, just one big thing. Definitely think twice about what you're doing. You know, you never know what somebody's going through in life. You know, some people might have something wrong with them. Some people might have nothing wrong with them, but nobody's perfect. And a lot of people, you know, I see it all the time, people make fun of other people. It's like bullying. You know, and also, like these people with diseases, you know, kids laughing at other kids because they have something wrong with them. But you never know what's going on in somebody else's life. You know, it's always good to be there for others, and always think twice about what you're doing or what you're saying. Because there's always a different route, and there's always a different road. It might be foggy, but it might be the road you need to take. And that's the truth. That's how I see it. You know, when I tell people to always think twice about what you're doing and what you're saying, you know, there's always, you know, like I said, there's always a different route. I dropped out of school in 9th grade in high school, and life just kind of went downhill. You know, it was pretty bad. I wasn't doing, you know, the homework stuff and the schoolwork, like the homeschooling stuff like I was supposed to. I was always out with friends, drinking, smoking weed. You know, we were always out there doing something. And when I was like 16, I was at a party, and I was with 2 buddies. We didn't have a car. We won't like, I think my dad dropped me off, to be honest with you. But he didn't know what was going on. And I had an ounce of weed in my pocket. I was selling weed. And
awesome.
Yeah, right. So my buddy got us kicked out of the party, and we left, and we were on the side of the road in Youngsville, North Carolina. And it's about 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, and 3 cop cars came over the hill, and I took off on foot and ran. Needless to say, I went to jail that night. I stayed in there for 5 days. My mom and dad, you know, I called them every day. I mean, I was like begging my dad, please come get me out. You know, please come get me out. Just, I'll change whatever you want me to do. And they let me stay in there, you know, for 5 days. So it was rough. I mean, the only thing I had was a Dollar General radio that only picked up country music. So it's pretty, needless to say,
Folsom Prison Blues.
Every single person in the whole jail knew every song on the country radio. So
yeah,
didn't matter if you're black, white, or yellow, blue. They all knew it, man. I've never heard a thug sing country music until you go to jail. But
wow.
So, you know, they let me stay in there. There was a lot of people that were upset with him. You know, they told him, you know, get him out right now, get him out. But honestly, the way it happened couldn't have been no better. Like, it was perfect the way it was, because I might have gotten out the next day and I could have went right back into it. I could have gotten out the second day. I could have went right back into it. You know, it might have been the 4th, and I still, anything, the 5th day, it don't matter what it was perfect no matter what. Because I got out and I tried to do the same things, and it just didn't even feel right no more.
Wow.
it was like God took that satisfaction from me and was like, this ain't you no more. This is not who you are. And you're not going to be that person. And that's what I felt like. You know, I tried to smoke with weed, and I tried to smoke a joint after I got out. And I was so paranoid that it just wasn't even fun no more. Like, I knew that there was something off. I couldn't tell you what it was at the time, but there was something off. There was something bigger and better ahead of me. And I was going to court every day, and they put me on probation for a whole year. Supervised probation, you know, drug tests every other week. I was always meeting the probation officer. She was always coming by the house. Sheriffs were always coming by the house. I mean, it was just a constant all the time. You know, I was constantly watching my back, you know, trying to figure out what was going to happen, if I was going to get back in trouble. But literally, man, I just stayed to myself. I let all my friends go. I left everybody alone, and I stayed in the house for a whole year. I went to work, came straight home. I didn't have a license. I didn't have a car, so I couldn't go nowhere, really. I mean, my dad came and got me from work. I'm a diesel mechanic, and I worked in Apex at per year at the time. And per year was very lenient to letting me go to my probation officer when I needed to and everything. And they helped the process, you know. But for a year, I just did nothing. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't drink. I didn't do nothing. You know, I just left everything alone, left my friends alone. After I got out, you know, of probation, this is the funniest part. The judge, when they finally told me I could get off of probation, he said, "Son, you've done everything you need to do. You're a free man." And he smiled at me. And my buddy, one of my buddies, was in court at the time. Well, not my buddy now, but he said, "Man, I've never seen a judge smile." I said, "Me either, but hey, I ain't coming back here no more." You know, so from there on, my life was better, and my family, everybody came closer. Like, I came closer to my family. I came closer to new friends that were better for me. You know, we still like to go out, we still like to have fun, but we don't smoke weed, and we don't go out there and do things that I was doing when I was 15, 16, you know, messing up. Like, I'm on a journey to a successful music career. I write music, you know. I love going out and making people smile, you know. My friends, not no more, that I used to hang out with, one of them is now headed back to prison for stealing one of my buddy's cars, like last week. Another one ended up in prison. The other one ended up in prison. And another one ended up in prison. So they all ended up in jail and prison. Rehab, prison, jail. They were in and out. They still are to this day. And, you know, there's been a few times where I've seen them and they say, "Hey, man, you know, we should hang out some more. I'm a changed man. I'm clean." And that's good for you, man. I'm glad you're clean, but that doesn't mean I have to be around you, because it can be any time that you can relapse. And I don't want to be brought down. You know, God had a better road for me. You know, it took me a while to really see it, but I saw it. Like, I know where I'm going now. You know, I'm going up. And when I say up, I mean, you know, successful and to heaven. When, you know, when everything's done and said and done, my life is done down here. I'm going up there with my grandpa and my other grandpa. You know, I'm gonna go see those people that I loved. You know, and my buddies, you know, they ain't my buddies no more. I don't even know why I keep calling them that. They're on a bad path. And I don't think they'll ever change. You know, I think the devil really has a lot to do with it. He's got a hold of them, and he's just torturing them as they go. He's just bam, bam, bam. You know, you're gonna do what I say. You're gonna do, you know, what I want you to do. And they're on something so bad, drug-wise, that I wouldn't wish it on nobody. I've never done it, but I've seen it, and I've seen it been done, and it's not a good thing, and it's getting really big nowadays in North Carolina and, you know, everywhere, and it's killing people. People are dying left and right. You know, I don't know much about it, so I can't say much about it, but I know I've seen it, and I've seen it been done right in front of me, and I know, you know, a few people that have lost their life to it, and it's not worth it at all. There's always a better path to take. You know, I'm the type of guy, I want to take a vacation to the beach and have a good time with the family or friends. You know, I don't want to be out here doing the same thing every day, you know, doing drugs with nothing else to do. You know, that's not even the point. It's the point of, you can do things and have fun without doing drugs and without drinking. You can do so much more things, you know, what you want to do without that stuff. Everybody thinks they have to have this and they have to have that to have fun. You don't have to have that. You can go your way. You don't have to be a follower either. You can be a leader. You can be a leader to yourself. You know, I have autism, and my autism is a very high function. It's a social disorder. You know, most autistic kids won't even be able to talk to you right now. And right now, I'm having a normal conversation with you. You know, I've worked so hard to overcome the little things that affected me. And, you know, singing in front of people. And, you know, before I used to be like, you know, like this. Now I'm like, I'm building it out. Like, it's just like natural, you know. And having a social disorder, it's tough, but once you learn and you really dedicate yourself to becoming better and stronger as an individual and a leader to yourself, you know, you tell yourself, like, I'm going to be the best me that I can be. And that's the way I live. So that's just my life, you know.